Welcome to a world where reality blurs with enchantment. In today's captivating video, we're going to unveil the mystique and unveil the magic behind 20 real-life sorcerers and wizards. These remarkable individuals have woven spells and wielded powers that defy explanation, leaving an indelible mark on history. From ancient mystics to modern-day enchanters, join us on this extraordinary journey as we uncover the sorcerers and wizards who've brought magic to life in the most unexpected ways. Prepare to be enchanted and amazed. Number 20. Charles Leland. Known as a traveler, folklorist, researcher of witchcraft, and writer, Charles was born in Philadelphia, in 1824. Although not a wizard himself, he is still considered an important person with his extensive research in ancient witchcraft and folklore. His book, Aradia, or the Gospel of the Witches, is considered as his best work. Some experts argue that he might have adopted himself into Strega-area Italian witchcraft. He died in 1903 due to heart problems and pneumonia. 19. Gerald Gardner. Known as the founder of Wicca and neo-paganism, writer, and occultist, father of modern Wicca, Gerald was born in Liverpool in 1884. It was only in 1936 that he got attracted to occult. He became a member of the Folklore Society in 1939. It was through the Rosicrucian Order Crotona Fellowship that he found the New Forest Coven and initiated himself as a member. He authored 2 books under the craft names Seer, A Goddess Arrives, Witchcraft Today, and High Magic's Aid. In 1951, after the repeal of the last witchcraft law, Gardner discussed the craft more openly in public, making him an instant celebrity. He died in 1964 due to heart attack. 18. Simon Magus. Also known as Simon the Sorcerer or Simon of Gitta, he was a biblical wizard who had the power to levitate and travel. He lived in Sebasta in Samaria, and practiced magic, but later got converted to Christianity by Philip the Evangelist. It is believed that he tried to bribe the apostles in order to take their healing powers from them. There are various accounts of his death, most popular being, he levitated himself in the air in the church forum, and when Apostle Peter prayed to God to stop him from flying, he fell from midair and broke his legs. He died of his injuries in spite of being taken care by fellow outcast sorcerer named Castor. 17. Michael Scott. Michael Scott was one of the most influential European intellectuals of the 13th century. Unfortunately for him, history remembers him as not a scholar but a sorcerer. Scott had a fascination with the occult and treated it with just as much enthusiasm as more orthodox subjects. He studied in Toledo, a Spanish city then under occupation by the Moors, translating many texts into Latin. In Scott's time, any European with Middle Eastern learning would have been respected and even feared. But Scott also took to dressing in an Arab gown, fueling the belief that he was indeed a sorcerer. His occult knowledge won him the post of personal astrologer to the Holy Roman Emperor. He was also tutor to the Pope, though he likely confined these lessons to more traditional subjects. During his tenure as the Emperor's astrologist, he gained fame for successfully predicting the result of a war with the Lombard League. He also used his medical knowledge to cure the emperor of ailments. After his death, other feats were ascribed to him, such as changing the course of the River Tweed, drawing rope from sand, and even cleaving the Eildon Hills of Scotland into 3 separate cones. His reputation earned him a cameo in Dante's Inferno, where he is punished eternally in the level of hell reserved for wizards. 16. The Magician of Marblehead. A resident of Little Harbor, Marblehead in Massachusetts, Edward John Diamond was feared as an alternately benevolent and malevolent sorcerer. He was born sometime around the Salem witch trials, and his eccentric behavior was likely tolerated due to the stigma against witchcraft accusations following the hysteria. Diamond was said to go into trances. His eyes would roll back in his head, and he would later come around feeling refreshed and with knowledge of future and distant events. The townsfolk and even local police sought him out to locate stolen items on occasion, a practice at which he apparently had great success. It's theorized, though, that he could have just as easily located the items through deductive reasoning. Darker legends say that he was a necromancer who dug up graves for his diabolical arts. According to stories, Diamond would go to the local cemetery during storms and cry into the wind, hailing distant ships at sea. When in a benevolent mood, his voice could be heard by captains thundering above storms, telling him the right course. Other times, when a captain ran afoul of Diamond, he would curse them and send storms to capsize their ships. 15. Abe no Seimei was the Japanese Merlin. However, unlike the European wizard, Sime's historical existence goes unchallenged. He served 6 different emperors as an Omayodo, a yin-yang master. The court wizard oversaw matters of divination, protecting the Japanese emperor with rituals to banish evil spirits and illnesses. Legends and folktales ascribe to him all sorts of supernatural powers. The famous kabuki play Kuzunoha says he inherited his magical power from his mother, a white fox. He was said to possess second sight, which he used to identify demons. When the samurai Watanabe no Suna was said to cut off a demon's arm, he brought the accursed item to Sime to seal it away with a spell. The demon later tried to retrieve its limb but was unable to overcome Sime's magic. Legend says that Sime met hosts of other demons in magical combat, defeating each of them with his vast repertoire of spells. Legend also says that he was killed by a rival. In another play, rival Ashiva Doman secretly copies a text Sime had been studying under a Chinese master wizard. With his stolen knowledge in hand, Doman challenges Sime to a wizard battle and manages to kill him. Later, though, Sime's Chinese master arrives in Japan and resurrects his pupil with a ritual, allowing the reborn Sime to defeat the rival wizard and reclaim his book. 14. Roger Bacon. A 14th-century monk was one of the leading scientific minds of his day, figuring out how to fit Aristotle's philosophy and scientific theory into Christianity, no small feat which he actually sent to the Pope. He's considered to have figured out the ingredients of gunpowder, and was a leading researcher of optics and lenses. He was also said to have predicted cars, planes, and submarines. Admittedly, all of this was probably easier since he was also said to have a giant talking robot head that could answer any question someone asked it. Number 13. George Pickingill. Known as a significant figure in modern paganism and Wicca, George was born in the Essex village. He is said to be the founder of 9 covens and a modern hereditary witch who reformed the witchcraft. He is also associated with the Rosicrucians and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, though later the groups disowned him due to his increasing proximity with Satanism and black magic. 12. Rick Rubin, a name synonymous with musical innovation and artistic wizardry, is an iconic figure who has wielded his own brand of magic to shape the music industry as we know it. Born on March 10, 1963, in Long Beach, New York, Rubin's journey through the realms of sound would ultimately earn him a place in the annals of music history as a true magician and wizard. From his earliest forays into music production, Rubin exhibited an uncanny ability to extract the purest essence of an artist's vision, transforming their sonic dreams into reality. His wizardry became evident in the 1980s when he co-founded Def Jam Recordings, a label that would give birth to hip-hop legends like Run DMC, Beastie Boys, and LL Cool J. Rubin's hands-on, alchemical approach to production breathed life into tracks that continue to reverberate through generations. But his magic didn't stop there. In the 1990s, Rubin took a journey into the realm of rock and rolled out a series of critically acclaimed albums with artists like Red Hot Chili Peppers, Johnny Cash, and System of a Down. Each collaboration became a testament to his chameleon-like ability to adapt his wizardry to diverse musical landscapes. One of his most enchanting feats was his work with Johnny Cash on the American Recordings series. Rubin conjured an intimate and hauntingly beautiful sound that revitalized Cash's career, producing songs that felt like incantations from a bygone era. Rick Rubin's minimalist approach, his deep respect for the essence of each artist's voice, and his unwavering dedication to the craft of music production have earned him the title of a musical magician and wizard. His influence extends beyond the studio, as he continues to mentor and inspire new generations of artists, making him a true sage of the music industry. In the grand tapestry of music history, Rick Rubin's magical touch has left an indelible mark, forever enchanting our ears and souls. He remains a timeless figure, a guardian of sonic sorcery, and a wizard who has illuminated the path for countless artists to follow. 11. Aleister Crowley, born Edward Alexander Crowley on October 12, 1875, in Royal Leamington Spa, England, was a controversial and influential figure in the realm of occultism and mysticism. He is often remembered as a complex character with a lasting impact on esoteric traditions. Aleister Crowley, sometimes referred to as the Great Beast 666, was a prolific writer, poet, and magician. He was a member of several secret societies, including the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn and the Ordo Templi Orientis, OTO. His interest in the occult and mysticism began at an early age, leading him to explore a wide range of esoteric practices. Crowley is perhaps best known for his development of Thelema, a spiritual and philosophical movement centered around the belief in one's true will and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. The central text of Thelema is the Book of the Law, which Crowley claimed to have received during a mystical experience in Cairo, Egypt, in 1904. Throughout his life, Crowley authored numerous books and writings on topics ranging from magic and mysticism to sexuality and philosophy. His work often challenged societal norms and religious conventions, which garnered him both admiration and notoriety. Crowley's life was marked by controversy, including his involvement in various scandals and legal issues. Despite this, he remains an influential figure in modern occultism and has had a lasting impact on various esoteric traditions, including Wicca, Satanism, and New Age spirituality. He passed away on December 1, 1947, but his legacy continues to spark fascination, debate, and exploration within the realms of the mystical and occult. Aleister Crowley's life and teachings continue to inspire and intrigue those who seek to understand the depths of esoteric knowledge and spirituality. 10. A. E. Waite. Known as a scholarly American mystic, writer of occult and esoteric symbols, and creator of the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, Waite was born in Brooklyn in 1857. His interest in Hermeticism made him join the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn in 1891. Then, he went on to become a Freemason in 1901. He was convinced that the symbolism in these groups had a common path and that would lead to illumination. Later, he formed the Fellowship of the Rosy Cross, an offshoot of the Golden Dawn. He was a trademark writer of topics such as divination, esotericism, Rosicrucianism, Freemasonry, black and ceremonial magic, Kabbalism, and alchemy. Waite died in 1943 and is buried in Kent. Number 9. The Count of Saint-Germain. This learned courtier rose to prominence in European society in the 18th century. He claimed to be the son of a prince. He was accused of being a spy in London and then hung around to give a few musical performances. He was a prolific composer. He tried to negotiate peace between England and France despite the fact that no one asked him to, especially not the King of France. He was a fascinating dude even before he started telling people he was several centuries old, could control nature, and also had the ability to combine a bunch of small diamonds into a big one. He also may have prophesied the French Revolution, but I'm pretty sure anyone with a bit of social awareness who visited France in the 1700s could have called that one. Number 8. Roger Bolingbroke. Bolingbroke was a 15th-century priest connected to the Duke of Gloucester. He was accused of being involved in a plot to kill the king with black magic. He had an interest in astronomy and was said to have used the art to divine whether the Duke's wife would become the Queen of England. The king himself, Henry VI, was heirless. Had he died, the throne would have fallen to the Duke, making the Duchess queen. Under torture, Bolingbroke confessed to plotting to kill the king with sympathetic magic using a wax image. He implicated the Duchess as an accomplice. She fled so as not to be tried by a religious court, probably saving her life, but was nevertheless found guilty by a secular court and sentenced to life in confinement. A witch implicated in the plot, Marjorie Jourdain, was burned at the stake. Bolingbroke was hanged, drawn, and quartered. Historians now think that, like many men of learning, Bolingbroke probably did dabble in astrology. The plot to kill Henry VI, however, was likely conjured up by the Duke's political enemies. The Beaufort family, opponents of the popular Duke, feared that he would ascend to the throne in the event of Henry VII's early demise. The Duke himself toyed with astrology, but it would have been impossible to nail a black magic plot on him due to his immense popularity as a war hero. The Duchess, though, was rather unpopular. Her family's connections to Bolingbroke further made her an easy target. The plot was ultimately successful, disgracing the Duke enough that his ascension to the throne was impossible. Number 7. Rabbi Judah Loew ben Bezalel. Elected chief rabbi of Poland in 1592, Judah was a tireless fighter for the Jewish community, even fighting his fellow Jews who would needlessly denounce other families on claims of legitimacy. It's easy to see how he developed a reputation for protecting his people from all anti-Semitism, even before the Holy Roman Emperor decided that the Jews inside the ghettos of Prague needed to be expelled and/or killed. The rabbi created a golem to protect his people and kick anti-Semitic asses. Made of clay, the golem came to life because the rabbi knew how God created Adam, and it was sort of the same deal. The golem could also turn invisible and summon other spirits from the afterlife, so it was pretty effective except on the Sabbath, when of course the rabbi let it take the day off. Number 6. Grigory Rasputin, a mystic and controversial figure, played a significant role in the late Russian Empire during the late 19th and early 20th centuries. Grigory Yefimovich Rasputin was born on January 21, 1869, in the Siberian village of Pokrovskoye, Russia. He grew up in a peasant family and received little formal education. Rasputin experienced a spiritual awakening in his youth, which led him to join a religious sect known as the Klesty. This sect practiced ecstatic rituals and emphasized the importance of sin and repentance. Journey to St. Petersburg. In his early adult years, Rasputin traveled to St. Petersburg, Russia's capital at the time. There, he gained a reputation as a wandering holy man and healer. His charismatic personality and reported healing abilities attracted the attention of the Russian aristocracy. Rasputin's rise to prominence was closely tied to the Romanov family, Russia's ruling monarchy. He first came into contact with the Romanovs when he was called to help their hemophiliac heir, Tsarevich Alexei, who suffered from the potentially life-threatening disease. Rasputin's apparent ability to ease the boy's suffering earned him the trust and favor of Tsar Nicholas II and Empress Alexandra. Rasputin's growing influence over the Romanovs and his access to the royal family led to political intrigue and resentment among the Russian elite. Many viewed him as a sinister figure, and rumors of his debauchery and manipulation of the empress swirled. Rasputin survived several assassination attempts, including poisonings and shootings, which only added to his mystique and perceived invincibility. On December 30, 1916, a group of nobles who opposed Rasputin's influence lured him to the home of one of the conspirators. They poisoned him, shot him multiple times, and threw him into the Neva River. Rasputin's cause of death was ultimately drowning. His murder remains a subject of historical debate and intrigue. Rasputin's death did not prevent the impending downfall of the Romanov dynasty. The Russian Revolution of 1917 resulted in the abdication of Tsar Nicholas II and the eventual execution of the Romanov family. Grigory Rasputin's life and mysterious persona continue to be a subject of fascination and debate. While some saw him as a mystical healer and spiritual guide, others regarded him as a manipulative charlatan who exerted undue influence over the Russian monarchy, contributing to its ultimate demise. Number 5. Hayim Samuel Jacob Falk. Falk was a Kabbalist, alchemist, and a doctor. He narrowly escaped being burnt at the stake by the Westphalia authorities, after accusations of wizardry. Luckily he was protected by a count who gave him shelter. In return he displayed magic to the count and his friends. Falk would regularly use his magical powers which gained him the title Baal Shem of London. Falk moved objects with his mind, saved a synagogue from a fire by writing a few incantations on it, and could teleport objects. Falk could enchant objects and gave a magical ring to the Duke of Orleans that would make sure that the successor to the throne would be one of his family members. The ring was handed down to the Duke's son who went on to become King Louis Philippe. Number 4. Nikola Tesla, the renowned inventor, engineer, and physicist, is often referred to as a wizard due to his groundbreaking contributions to science and technology. Nikola Tesla, 1856 to 1943, was a Serbian-American inventor, electrical engineer, and futurist who is best known for his pioneering work in the development of alternating current, AC, electrical systems. Born in what is now Croatia, Tesla showed an early aptitude for engineering and went on to study electrical engineering in Europe. Tesla's most significant contributions to science and technology include the invention of the AC induction motor and transformer, which revolutionized the generation and distribution of electricity. His work formed the basis for modern electrical power systems, making long-distance transmission of electricity feasible and efficient. He also conducted groundbreaking research in wireless communication and developed early concepts for technologies like radio and radar. Tesla's ideas laid the foundation for many of the technological advancements we rely on today. Despite his numerous inventions and innovations, Tesla faced financial struggles and spent his later years in relative obscurity. However, his work has received greater recognition in recent decades, cementing his legacy as one of history's most brilliant inventors and a true wizard of electrical engineering. Number 3. Edward Kelly. Known as a self-proclaimed occultist and alchemist, Edward was born in Worcester, England in 1555. He worked with Drive John Dee in summoning spirits and angels through a crystal gazer and communicating with them. The two devoted a huge amount of time on spiritual conferences. In 1590, unable to meet his tall claims of producing alchemy gold, the Emperor of Bohemia had him imprisoned where he died trying to escape in 1597. Number 2. Dr. John Dee. Known as an astronomer, astrologer, occultist, mathematician, and consultant to Queen Elizabeth I, Dr. John Dee was born in London. He devoted much of his life to alchemy, divination, and hermetic philosophy. It is said that he communicated with angels through a crystal gazer in order to learn the universal language of creation. At a later stage in his life, he had to sell off various precious possessions in order to support himself for survival, as the new King James wasn't as sympathetic as Queen Elizabeth in the matters of supernatural. Number 1. Eliphas Levi. Known as a magician and occultist, Eliphas was born in the early 1800s. In the 1830s, he became interested in animal magnetism and occult. He studied magic and occult under the guidance of an old couple. He later published books on magic, which became successful. He is also associated with the Knight of the Templar deity Baphomet. It was he who described it absolutely in a symbolic form. His teachings in magic were free from fanaticism. He also included tarot cards into his teachings. During his death, it is said, he reconciled with the Catholic Church. He died in 1875. And there you have it, fellow explorers of the mystical. We hope you've enjoyed this enchanting journey through the world of 20 real-life sorcerers and wizards. From the pages of history to the modern-day realms of wonder, these individuals have shown us that magic is alive and well. If you've been spellbound by these stories, don't forget to give us a magical thumbs up, share your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more captivating adventures into the world of the extraordinary.